Here's a quick refresher on how to do this graphing practice setup sheet if you missed it, or if you need to redo it for some reason. So the instructions here are pretty clear. It says set up each of these data sets on the graphs provided, then graph the points. So that's really important. You definitely want to do one, then the other. So set up all of them on the paper, and then come back and graph the points. It makes life a lot easier. They may not create any line patterns, so you don't connect the dots on them. We're just practicing setting up the graph increments on the X and Y axis. That's the main thing. So you will make the dots, but you do not need to connect the dots. If you're stuck, take the largest number in your data set and divide it by the number of places you have on your graph. That will give you the most accurate increment to use. Then round to the nearest easiest whole number that will still capture all your points. Easiest is a really important word here. The easiest numbers to count by are 1s, 2s, 5s, 10s, and so forth. 20s, 30s kind of, but for me, I'll jump straight to 50, 100, then like 200, and it pretty much goes in that same pattern. You can count by other numbers than these. If you want to count by like 7s, you can. I don't. That sounds awful to me. I don't want to count by 7, 14, 21, 28. See, I already lost track. I don't want to do that. I want to count by easy numbers, like these numbers here, right? So I've got graphs on the back, right here. So if you look at the back of the sheet, you'll have to flip yours over. They're back here, right? But here are graphs. So graph A will go with data set A, right? So let's practice that together, and then you should be able to do the rest on your own. So graph A, data set A. Here, the first thing I need to do is, like I said, set up the graph first. So right here, you've got your X's, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10. You've got your Y's, 2, 4, 10, and 20. And of course, Y is this axis, X is this axis down here. And remember, every graph starts at 0. I'd recommend marking that on all of these. A lot of people forget that all graphs start at 0. So now we have to decide what increments we go by. Here's the key thing. Every space has to go by the same increment. So you can't go by 2 here. You can't go from 0 to 2, and then from 2 to 5, and then from 5 to 20. Right? Can't do that. I can't put, like I have 1, 2, 5, 10. I can't put 1, 2, 5, and 10 on here. I have to go either 2, 4, 6, 8, or 5, 10, 15, 20, 10, 20, 30, 40, so on, right? And again, I want to choose easy numbers. Like you said, if you want to, you can go 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. That's kind of difficult. It's your choice, but you don't have to do that. So for this one, 1, 2, 5, and 10, I have to look at what my max number is. My max number is 10. So I have to get up to 10 or higher by the time I get up to the top of the graph. I can go over, but I can't go under, and I don't want to go too crazy far over. So this one's pretty easy. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and the last one needs to be either 10 or higher. So I have 5 spaces to move 10 numbers. So obviously I'm going to go by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's done. Now I'm done here. Little tip here. All my X on the first A, B, and C, all of my X ranges are the same. 1, 2, 5, 10, 1, 2, 5, 10, and 1, 2, 5, 10. So the range you just set up for X down here, and so we call this the range, is the same range for this one, and the same range for this one. So that's kind of handy. That's only true for A, B, and C. They change after that. So now I need to look at my Y. Now, unlike my X, I needed to get to 10. Now I need to get to 20. So got to max out at 20, at least up here. So what do I go by? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, which obviously, as you can see, is going to be the same on all of these, 5 by 5. After, when you don't count the 0 line, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 after your 0 line. So I need to get up to 20. Now, I could go 2 ways, and it would be just fine. I could go by 4s, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. That would be great, but I don't like counting by 4s. That's not in my list of easy numbers. It's not bad, but I like 5s. I'm going to go by 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And then when people need to go read it later, it's actually easier for them to read increments that are like simple for them to count by. It's a little easier. So there's two good reasons for this. So that's called the setup part. So what we just did is the graph setup. You still have to plot your points, right? So first thing you do, setup. Second thing you do, points. But like I said, I highly recommend go do the setup for all of them first. So our next one, B, we have 1, 2, 5, and 10 over on our X. So we can just copy that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We already know that one. Over here for Y, our numbers are a little bit higher. We go up to 28. So we have to get at least up to 28. We don't have to land right on 28, but at least up to 28. So this is where the easy numbers comes in. 1, 2, 5, and then we jump straight to 10. We know we can't count by 5 because 5 over here only got us up to 25. And we need to get up to at least 28. So I could go by sixes, right? 6, 12, 18, 24, 32. Or 30, sorry, not 32, 30. Again, that's not in my easy numbers here. I don't like that one. So I can't go by 5, jump straight up to 10. Go straight up to 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now when you come back and plot all your points, your highest point up here on the y-axis is only going to be up at 28, somewhere up like around here. You don't need to draw this line at all. So all of your data is going to be below that line somewhere, but you know, honestly, that's not a really big deal. That's not a really big deal. It's just fine, right? If you're using less than half of the graph, then you know, change something. But if you're using more than half of it, you're okay. Ideally, we want to use like here, all our points are going to be below this line. So we're using more than 80%. We're using 80% of our graph, which is what we want to go for. You know, that's ideal. But like that, you know, all of our points are going to be like this one: 1 and 25, 1, 25, 2 and 22, 2. Probably about 22 right there. I just have to look and guess that that's about 22. That's about 25 because it's right in the middle between 20 and 30. 5 and 26. Let's see, 5 would be right here. 26 would be a little bit above that 25 spot. And then 10 and 28. 10, that would be my high spot right there. So you can see all my data is below that line, like I said. But that's okay. You know, I mean, in reality, all our data is right in the middle of our graph. So that's fine. It looks good. So you do the rest exactly like that. That's the whole process. So like I said, the plotting the points, do all of the setups all the way through and then come back and plot each of the points. It'll go faster that way. You don't have to do it. You could do setup, plot points, setup, plot points, setup, plot points. That would be fine. But my recommendation is do the setup first, then come back and plot all the points. That's it.